Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Before we get into the actual video, just a quick reminder to say that I now have a new microphone and I'm still in the process of trying to test it out to see what works or doesn't work with it. So bits of this video might sound a bit different in terms of like the level that I'm speaking at, like the volume I'm speaking at, compared to like later on or earlier on. But yeah, I'm just testing it all out basically and seeing, what works. So over the past few days, there have been some rumors going around that Ncuti Gatwa will be leaving the show at the end of this year's Season 2, aka Series 15. Now, this is all started by an article by The Sun, and the article does reek of the usual tabloid nonsense, quoting only an unknown source with all of this. I won't read the article itself out, as it really does seem like utter rubbish. This source supposedly says of how Ncuti wants to move on to other things due to the negative fan reception, even though most sensible people have actually been very supportive towards him, and Ncuti has even thanked fans in the past for all of their support. Plus, the article mentions the show's supposed wokery. Oh, Jesus Christ. The Sun's really showing their true colours with that, aren't they? But could there be some truth to the idea that he'll be leaving this year? Well, it's impossible to say for certain at the moment. Don't think it's implausible though. We know that Disney are waiting to see how well Season 2 does before they decide whether they want to continue their deal with the BBC and Bad Wolf for the third season. And Ncuti has been doing some theatre work recently in the meantime, with Russell T Davies also now working on another show too. It's therefore only natural to take all of that as potential evidence that Ncuti and maybe Russell too are thinking about leaving the show at the end of this year. Then Russell has also said that scripts have already been worked on for Season 3, so it seems like he will still be involved with the show for a while yet, no matter what Disney decides, and the show will still get another season even if the BBC and Bad Wolf have to do it without Disney, or with another streamer instead. The show certainly won't be cancelled, despite what that Sun article says. It's still too much of a cash cow for the BBC, and it just wouldn't make good business sense to put something like that to rest, even if it was for 5 to 10 years. That sounds pretty corporate, I know, but it probably is the truth. So yeah, I don't think they've had to lay people off like the article mentions. The BBC also issued this statement in response to the Sun article. This story is incorrect. Doctor Who has not been shelved. As we have previously stated, the decision on Season 3 will be made after Season 2 airs. The deal with Disney Plus was for 26 episodes, and exactly half of those still have to transmit. And as for the rest, we never comment on the Doctor and future storylines. So yeah, I really don't think the show's under any risk of being cancelled. As for Ncuti, that's harder to say. I'd say there's a decent chance that he either leaves at the end of this season or the next. But there hasn't been anything to say that he's not been happy with his time on the show so far. I mean, yeah, it's not like we'd know even if there was something, as they probably wouldn't tell us. But I really wouldn't be surprised if he decides to stay on for another season, even if that season has to be delayed until 2027 due to Disney taking their time to come up with a decision. But I really hope that he stays on for a while. I know the current era isn't for everyone, and I'm not going to pretend that I've enjoyed every single aspect of it so far myself. But Ncuti is a very good actor for the part, full of charm and wit. He seems to be a really lovely guy in real life, especially with his interactions with fans, which makes the fact that the Sun would even publish something like this even more disgusting. Like, come on now. Have you not got better things to do than going around complaining about the show's supposed wokery? Sorry, I'm not trying to get political, I promise. I just wish that we didn't have to deal with these constant, tabloid, drivel-filled articles so much of the time. But that's me done with my tiny little soapbox moment. Obviously, the BBC statement doesn't really say much in regards to whether Ncuti is leaving this year or not, but we can't really draw too much from that, as I believe the BBC doesn't tend to like commenting on things like that until there's a proper official announcement or something. In summary, we honestly can't tell for certain whether Ncuti will be leaving at the end of this year or not. I certainly hope he isn't, as I would prefer him to do at least a standard 3 seasons in the part, maybe even more if he wanted to, although that might be less likely given how much of an in-demand actor he can be. But we'll have to wait and see how things go throughout this year's season, and presumably Christmas special. In other news, we got a couple of new 15th Doctor books announced. These will be Fear Death by Water by Emily Cook and Spectral Scream by Hannah Ferguson. The latter features new companion Belinda Chandra. Both novels, as well as audiobook versions, will be released on the 29th of May. The audiobooks will be read by Michelle Asante, who played a brief neighbour role in the Forest of the Night, and Susan Twist, respectively. Here's the synopsises for the novels. Fear Death by Water by Emily Cook. Northumberland, 1838. The TARDIS crash lands on board the sinking steamship. Stranded, the Doctor and a few survivors fight for their lives, while the local lighthouse keeper's daughter, Grace Darlin, risks her life to row to their rescue. Boarded a heroine, Grace struggles to cope with her newfound fame, but the Doctor senses something else is troubling Grace. She's been tormented by a terrifying vision she saw out at sea in the storm. There's a monster in her mind, wrecking ships and stealing the souls of the drowned. It's real. Spectral Scream by Hannah Ferguson. When a psychic shriek for help nearly overwhelms the TARDIS, the Doctor and Belinda track the source to a distant planet. There they find a sentient, telepathic bioship named Adama, and ragged colonists descended from the original crew. Adama is dying, and their spectral screams are growing strong enough to kill anyone in the vicinity. When Adama crashed 100 years ago, it was with a great treasure on board, stolen from the ruthless Gangnax Imperium, technology that could either unite worlds or destroy them. If they are to save the bioship, Doctor and Belinda must survive suspicious colonists, greedy bounty hunters, and military forces determined to reclaim what's theirs, before Adama's final death throes destroy them all. Now, since these are releasing towards the end of May, I think it's safe to say that we haven't got too much longer to wait until Season 2 airs. After all, the majority of the last 15th Doctor novels were released towards the end of Season 1's airing. The only exception was Eden Rebellion, which wasn't released until a few months later in November. So I reckon these new books will follow a similar pattern in terms of releasing when a season is starting to come to a close. We had it leak a while ago now that Season 2 might be starting around the end of March, close to New Who's 20th anniversary. I think that came from a Disney leak or something like that. But that would then mean that these novels are released a few weeks after Season 2 is finished, rather than being released as it's winding down. So who knows what will happen. But I thought it was worth pointing out the potential timing of these novels' release date. Like last year, I can imagine that there will be a third novel released later on in the year, and there's already a listing on Amazon for a hardcover book called The Moon Cruise by Esme Jikami Pearson, who previously wrote the novelization for the Church on Ruby Road. So The Moon Cruise is probably what the third 15th Doctor book of this year will be. I'm looking forward to picking these books up when they're released though, and their stories sound pretty intriguing. Anyway, so there's my thoughts on whether or not Ncuti Gatwa could be leaving after Season 2, as well as those newly announced 15th Doctor books. What do you think? Do you agree with my thoughts or not? Do you think Ncuti should leave after Season 2 or Season 3? And will you be picking those novels up? Please let me know in the comments section below. Anyway, thanks for watching, hope you liked it. Please don't forget to press that subscribe button below, as well as press the bell icon at the side of it, so that you'll stay notified when all my new videos come out. And I shall see you all in another video. So, until next time, bye bye!